Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history in hopes of digging up some kind of a gotcha moment, a gotcha angle to validate illegal immigration and open borders. And what she found was really shocking, guys. She found that my family who came here in the 1800s from Norway and Germany, that they spoke Norwegian and German.
Okay.
And really what she did is prove that my family came here legally.
Her second great-grandmother had been here for 10 years, yet spoke no English. Oh, my gosh. 1930 census says Tommy's 3 times great-grandmother had been here for 41 years and still spoke German. She didn't speak English either. She doesn't even know her own history. She certainly doesn't know this country's history.
Sunny Hostin thought she was delivering another one of her usual mic drop moments. You know the type: smug, sanctimonious, dressed in the language of justice, and sprinkled with buzzwords like white privilege and systemic oppression. But this time, she made a critical error. She picked the wrong person to lecture. That person? Tomi Lahren. What unfolded wasn't just a debate. It wasn't a disagreement. It was a live televised unraveling, an implosion of Sunny's carefully manufactured public persona. And the best part? Tomi didn't have to scream, interrupt, or even raise her voice. She simply let Sunny talk herself into a corner and then quietly handed her the mirror. The story starts with a now viral episode of PBS's Finding Your Roots, where Sunny Hostin discovered something that would send a chill down the spine of any professional virtue signaler. Her ancestors were European slave owners. That's right. The same Sunny who lectures Americans daily on racial injustice and reparations found out her family tree was built on the very foundation she claims to fight against. Sunny was visibly shaken. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, she said, her voice trailing off. She stammered, mumbled, and finally admitted that she didn't know her own history. The irony. This is the same woman who lectures others about American history and identity, like she wrote the textbook. But it didn't stop there. Over the weekend, someone tried to pull a gotcha on Tomi Lahren, digging into her family history to prove she was a hypocrite for supporting merit-based immigration. What did they find? That her ancestors spoke Norwegian and German when they arrived in the 1800s. That's it. No illegal crossings, no unearned benefits, no handouts. Just legal immigration, hard work, and assimilation. In trying to shame Tomi, they actually proved her point. And Tomi, she didn't miss a beat. She took the research and turned it into a wrecking ball. She held up her family's legacy like a shield, one that deflected every arrow of hypocrisy. Sunny tried to launch. "My family came here legally. They worked. They asked for nothing," she declared. And just like that, the smug smirk on Sunny's face began to crack. But what made this moment so explosive wasn't just the facts, it was the contrast. On one side, Tomi Lahren, a conservative firebrand who, love her or hate her, comes armed with receipts and unapologetic clarity. On the other side, Sunny Hostin, a woman who's built a career preaching about justice while conveniently ignoring the parts of her story that don't fit the narrative. Tomi didn't just call out a contradiction, she exposed the machinery behind it. Sunny's identity politics, her lectures, her finger pointing, it all began to look like a costume, a well-rehearsed performance, and when the curtain was pulled back, what stood there wasn't a woman of moral clarity. It was someone who didn't even know her own roots. The reaction was immediate and brutal. Social media lit up, memes flooded the internet. Sunny Hostin just discovered she's the villain in her own monologue, one tweet read. Another said, Tomi didn't roast her, Sunny self-combusted. But perhaps the most biting summary came from Tomi herself, who said, "This isn't resistance genealogy. This is just Trump derangement syndrome dressed up as research." Sunny tried to salvage the moment by deflecting. She called the investigation into her past mean and personal. Joy Behar rushed to her defense, saying, "It's beyond research, it's personal." But the damage was done, because the truth wasn't mean. It wasn't even an attack. It was just inconvenient. Painfully inconvenient. Let's be honest, Sunny Hostin is the kind of person who walks into a room, smells a debate, and starts drafting a TED Talk in her head that no one asked for. She's the queen of pre-scripted outrage, the high priestess of the phrase, "as a woman of color," right before she says something that makes half the room roll their eyes into the back of their heads. But this time, that line didn't work. This time, Tomi came prepared with something more powerful than any moral posturing: consistency. And in a political landscape full of double standards, that was lethal. Sunny's reaction on The View only made things worse. She tried to intellectualize the moment, turning her newfound ancestry into a discussion on how